So hi John.
Hi.
Thank you for giving us this time for this interview.
Very well.
Let me start off by asking you a few things about yourself and LeaderShape, and then maybe come to the central idea and theme of leadership, and conclude more towards how does that become relevant to a company which is sort of embarking on a sustainability journey. So the relevance of that, how does it resonate and stuff like that.
Okay.
So let me begin by, what is this one concern that worries you?
I think the biggest concern is that the world has changed fundamentally in the last 15 years, and we haven't got to grips with that. So therefore, we're in crisis globally. We may not be in a micro sense, but in a macro sense. The world is changing faster and faster, and we're sort of on the edge of chaos. 20 years ago, we unless there was a catastrophe, which happened from time to time, we sort of knew what was going to be happening in the next year or the next 2 years. But now we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And I think that we're trying to solve that using the same leadership that we've always used. Mm-hmm. And even though the leadership that we always used was perhaps not the best leadership, it was okay. Mm-hmm. It got us through. I don't think that the traditional approach to leadership will get us through. So we've got to fundamentally change the way we lead.
In your own life, where did you find this need coming up, and we are not able to meet that need? And now what keeps you driving?
I think that what made me realise that was a sort of an inward journey. Mm-hmm. In that by serendipity about 15 years ago, I had the opportunity to learn to coach. Okay. And through that, by asking questions and helping other people find their own solutions, rather than giving advice, mm-hmm. I realised that that was much more powerful in helping people on their journeys, but it was also much more informative to me because I got answers that I didn't ask for, I didn't expect, and the feedback basically was that the behaviour between people was so fundamental to performance. Whereas our focus is always on processes and structures, the actual huge opportunity for productivity gain, and for the greater good as well, is through behavioural change and through people being willing to change their own behaviours.
Yeah, I'm coming to that. But what keeps you driving? I mean, how did it initially happen on a more of an informal thing till you came up with a bigger idea?
Okay. I think how it became a bigger idea was by working with other chief executives in that sort of coaching environment, and the realization of that they were all having the same kind of issues around not being able to solve problems because they weren't able to deal with people in the way they needed to. That this became, I understood that this was a generic issue, and that if we could solve that it could make a huge change to the world. So having realised that and having worked for a number of years to identify all the research around the world and try to pull it together, and then fill the gaps, so that we have a system of helping people on that journey, not to take them on the journey, but to just assist them on that journey, that it can have a big impact. And so I believe that we can actually, there's a possibility to change the world. That's what drives me.
And that's how you stumbled up to this idea of leadership.
Yeah. I've been a leader, for 30 years, so I know what leadership's all about. And I think I've been a fairly successful leader and quite a good leader. But when I look back, there was just so many tricks I missed around this whole behavioural thing. Mm-hmm. Because I'm an engineer, I was trained to be logic and to think logically and to think strategically and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. But I didn't put enough emphasis on the people side of how do you get people to overperform willingly and and without the expectation. It's, you know, it's quite subtle.